What's up, everybody? It's Keith, aka Bob. We're back with another discussion video. Today, we are going to do something different today because what I clearly see is Toy Story. It's something different from gaming, and I already done a video about something different, with my Star Wars list. But this is Toy Story. This is different from Star Wars. So, what this video is going to be about is a story about, the sort of a prequel to the first movie, because they've never seen Toy Story, then I don't know why you're here, but Toy Story is about when toys come to life, and all that sort of stuff. But there's few plot holes that are sort of out of, that is not explained, which was Andy's dad not being there, and why Woody, the main character of the three films, does not know who he is, as in Toy Story 2, you see he's just not knowing where he's from, but then we learn where he's from. And he does as well. But before I go into that, I just want to say, like the video and subscribe and share with all your friends. If you want to hear the rest of this, then this video needs to be shared, because this story actually, it's pretty good. It's pretty, amazing. It's interesting to me. That's why I did this video. So let's just go right into this video. Before this video starts, the idea of this was not created by me. I did not create the story, not at all. It's from the channel Super Carlin Brothers. They did all the hard work for this. I'm just retelling the story. Alright, they talked to the person who got the story, and it's real. One of the Pixar executives who worked on Toy Story had this whole backstory covered up. But sadly he died, and he told his friend, who's he's a toy guy, and that's not rude toy guy, like kids toy guy, not the other toy guy, the kids, doll toy guys. So they talked to him, or he went, the person in the channel named Jay, he talked to the guy who knows the story, and he shared it with his viewers. And I watched it, that's why I'm inspired by this. So that's what information this video is coming from, and after I got that out of the way, so no one copyrights me or anything like that for this story. I'm saying it now because I don't want anything bad happening. So, now I got out of the way, let's continue on with the story here. Well, let's start off with the story, even. First off, this story, it takes place in 1957. Now, in the 50s, a lot of things happened. It was after World War II. Everyone was happy and good. A lot of stuff came out of it, like cars, diseases were cured. A lot of, shows were being made that were, for fun, not, anything serious-wise, because back in, years ago, in the 40s and 30s and 20s, everything, TV was or radios even, were used for, presidents speaking out or whatever, but TV was being used for fun ideas. Even with kids, there were kids shows being made, and one of them was called Woody's Roundup. Now, Woody's Roundup, was created by a cereal company, called, Popcorn Brand or something like that, but this cereal company actually had promotion. But first, before I go to that, this show was everyone watched this show, every child watched this, everyone in the 50s watched this show, including Andy's dad, which coincidentally, his name was also Andy. Remember that for later. So back to the whole promotion thing. This promotion basically, you had to send 30 box tops to get an exclusive toy, which was the Woody doll. But the thing is, you may be asking yourself, why is Woody doll? Because if you watch Toy Story 2, Woody is the main character of the show. Why would the main character of the show be so hard to get? The problem with that is that before, all this mass production stuff came out, stuff was hard to get. There weren't machines to create much toys. There was only, you can only handcraft so many dolls at one time. So, what they had to do, they had to make a promotion and get people to get cereal boxes. So, that leads to Andy trying to get it, but since Andy's life, you should know, it sucks. Andy's life, I'm talking about Andy's dad here, you gotta get used to Andy's dad. Andy's dad's named Andy, okay, it's confusing, I know, but his life sucked. He's poor. He can't buy stuff. He doesn't have enough money for it. He doesn't have much stuff, and he's a bully. He just gets bullied. But the one thing that keeps him lighthearted is Woody's Roundup, because his hero is Woody. So he wants to get it so badly, but he couldn't. He can only get 7 box tops. because he wants to get the Woody doll. That's what this promotion's all about, getting the Woody doll that they need to get. Because you get 30 box tops to get a Woody doll. Hey, that's good and all, but before this promotion sort of ended, something happened that changes everything. Sputnik. If you know what Sputnik is, if you never learned this in your history class, which I coincidentally did, this is when spaceship went into space, a satellite went into space. That changed everything. Instead of people buying cowboys and toys from the past, they want what the future holds. They want space toys. They want the astronauts. They want aliens. And you may also realize that's what the 50s are all about as well. Like you've seen 50 movies, or knockoff 50 movies about alien stuff, what people think of aliens and stuff, eating your brains and stuff. That's where it all sort of came from in those 50s times, because of Sputnik. But because of Sputnik, their promotion never was finished. But there was never any more Woody toys made. There was only one. It was a prototype that they showed. Basically, it showed it. They only showed it during conference meetings, so this Woody doll never saw any other toys. It was only wrapped in a box, never seen again. I'm sort of guessing that because where they're going to put this Woody doll in a box somewhere, just only to show at business meetings. But they only had one Woody doll, and sadly he got thrown away. And before Andy, Andy didn't have enough box tops, so we go back to Andy now. He wanted it so much, so he decided to send a note saying that he wanted it so much. He's poor, he's a poor child, he wants it. So he writes it up, and he decorates the letter so it stands out, and he sends it in. But of course, the Sputnik hits, everything goes bad. But, what's to do now? The story ends there. Well, it wasn't for, a secretary. That takes all the calls in. Because things got really heavy. The company decided to send in space toys to people for this promotion. Because people got 30 box tops. They sent in 30 box tops. They expect a Woody doll. But instead they got a spaceman toy. You know how many complaints they got? Well, the secretary thought, hey, there's only one Woody doll. One child should have this. If they did it, someone needs to deserve this. So she went through all the notes and letters. And guess which one? The one that stood out the most, the one that Andy himself decorated the most, got this Woody doll. And thing is, he's very happy, but when he got it, he was so happy. But that happiness didn't last that long, because I don't know if you know about this. There's a disease called polio. And polio is a disease that affects, you can't walk. One of the presidents, Theodore Roosevelt, or not the Theodore Roosevelt from the museum, the other one, his cousin, during World War II and the Great Depression, that president had polio, I think. So he couldn't walk, but he overcame it. But with Andy, he had polio. So with polio, you have to do some very bad stuff, which one of the bad things was burning all of his stuff that he touched, including his toys. So he played with Woody, and Woody was technically infected with polio. So he had to be burned, but he didn't want that happening. Out of the work that happened, out of the stuff they spent and did to get this doll, he didn't want it gone. So he literally crawled out of his bed. He crawled to the stuff. There's a pile of stuff out of the front yard, ready to be burned. All of his toys, all of his property, all of his stuff is being burned. Before it was burned, he grabbed 3 things. One, which was the Woody doll, and 2 were Slinky and Mr. Potato Head. The toys we see in the 3 films. After that, actually was a bit happy because he actually got over polio. And since he had a child and all, of course he survived. He became an adult. But before he did that, he sort of wanted these toys kept away secretly because if his parents found out, or anyone found out that these toys weren't burned, they would be burned. And more severely, probably. They'll really burn on the spot. So he decided to hide it in a trunk in his attic. And he said to him, he just said, I'll be back, don't worry. I'll be back eventually. Because of course he does overcome polio, and he can walk, he can be normal again. Or he was normal, he can do everything like a normal child again. But since we know toys come to life, they hear what the kid is saying. They hear what Andy's saying. So they stay in the trunk. They trust him enough to just, he'll come back later. So years later, Andy's a grown up. Andy's grown up now. He married his mom. They're moved because they went from being in in Andy's dad's old house. They moved to Seattle, out of all places, Seattle. He moved there, and they had a child, which was Andy, or Andy Jr. technically, so we can call him Junior. And Andy had a child named Andy Jr., and they're expecting another child, which was a child that we see in Toy Story, you know, the baby that's like 1 year old. But sadly, something happened again. Andy had he had something called post-polio syndrome, and that's bad. That's worse than having polio, because basically, that's when it comes. That's polio. This polio affects another spot, but much worse. So, and it's something you can't really live from. Like, he was dying. Andy was dying. So as his final days were approaching him, he said to his child, Andy Jr., he opened up his wallet and there was a key in there. And that key was very special to him. And it looked like it hasn't moved in years, this key. And he said to his son, go to the attic. Well, first I should say, when he had post syndrome, sorry for cutting you off there, they moved back to his old house, which was the house in Toy Story 1. That's his old house. That's his old family house. So back to the story. He told his son, go to the attic, go to the trunk. There's something very special in there that'll be your best friend forever. But sadly, before Andy can go to the trunk and open it, he went back downstairs and his father was dead. And for a few days, you know, he didn't really do anything because he was sad. He was depressed. Andy Jr. was depressed. You know, his father's dead, you know. It's been a few days after that he opened it, after the funeral, a few days after his funeral, you know, he opened the trunk finally, because he's a curious child and all, and he found Woody, Mr. Potato Head, and Slinky, and there we go, happy ending. But there's another sort of sad thing there. Woody, Mr. Potato Head, and Slinky never awoken. They never, came back to life. He took Andy's word for granted. They took it seriously. They said he said he was coming back, and technically he did. Because the thing is, Andy looks like Andy's dad when he was a child. Because the thing is, Andy looks like Andy's dad. You got that, right? The thing is, when they woke up finally, they just assumed that he's Andy's dad, but he's not. He's Andy Jr., but they never knew that. Woody never knows that. None of them do. They've been asleep for over 50 years. Since 1958 or whatever, to 1995 or 1994. That's a long time. That's a long time. That's like 50 years. They've just been asleep, not knowing when he's going to come back. When you finally open the trunk, they're like, hey! But the thing is, it's not Andy that he was received from. It's not Andy it's Andy's son. They never knew that. And the thing is, Andy's so happy in the first film because he got Woody. The thing that his father told him to do, he got it, and he's happy. That's why he's happy in Toy Story 1. And that explains why in Toy Story 2, why Woody's so rare, why Woody's so rare, like you said, and why Woody is only one of a kind. Why he's so valuable to everyone. Because he's the only one made. They never made any other Woody dolls. He was the only one. The prototype was the only one. So, that's actually a story, and that explains a lot. I should have actually said stuff in the beginning of the story rather than, like Andy and Andy's dad looking alike. But there's much proof of this, because in Andy's house, in Toy Story 1, you see photos of Andy, but it's actually Andy's dad, which supports that they look alike, because Andy's dad wore glasses, because polio could give you, bad vision. So, that's why he wore glasses, and some of the pictures look different, because that's Andy's dad. So, that explains a lot. I like the story a lot. Before I want to end the video here, I want to shout out the Zimmer Coen Brothers, who inspired me to make this video, and they're the original people who actually did all the hard work. I want to say this again, because I don't want anything bad going on. So, yeah, they deserve all the work. I just watched their video and made another video about it, but I basically told their story because they want to share this video, so I'm sharing the video on my channel. So, thank you for creating this video, and thank you for doing all the hard work. Thank you for taking your time to make this video. So, you know, 'cause it's an interesting story and all. I'm not trying to sound like mean or anything like that, like a jerk or anything. Because I just said something right now. It sounds like a jerk right now, but I'm not trying to. I'm saying thank you. All right. because this video is interesting. I like it, so you inspired me to make this story myself. I put a lot of time in this video. Okay, I'm recording this section after everything I just did with the whole editing and all that. It took like 2 hours for me. So, all right, I'm gonna end the video here. All right, I said enough. Thank you, Super Colin Brothers. Thank you. If you guys enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. I'm Keith Bob, and I'll see y'all later. Goodbye!